Hey there, I'm Sandy.
And I'm Jed.
And we recently drove the Pacific Coast Highway from Santa Monica, California, all the way up to Fort Bragg, California.
The PCH is a truly epic road trip, and we saw a lot of amazing things along the way.
But today we're going to share with you our 5 absolute must-stops on the PCH, plus
a bonus side trip that we definitely think is worth taking.
So the first must-stop on our list are the beaches of Malibu.
Malibu was our first overnight stop on the PCH. The beaches there are absolutely incredible and they're a must visit.
There is a reason that a lot of movie stars live here in Malibu because it is absolutely gorgeous. First beach that we checked out was El Matador.
This is a beach you're going to want to get to early because it does become crowded and the parking lot is fairly small.
Be aware that there is also a fee to pay when you park there because it is considered a part of the state park system.
But once you get that settled, you're going to be treated to some of the best views, I think, in Malibu.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Once you're there at the El Matador State Park, you're going to see beautiful arches and caves.
What really makes this beach special is the rock formations. There's plenty of photo opportunities there, as well as nice little nooks and crannies that you can hide from the sun if it gets too much for you.
We say if you're there around lunchtime, bring a little lunch and enjoy.
If you're looking someplace that's a little bit less crowded, then I would say head down to El Pescador.
El Pescador also has a small parking lot, but like we said, it's less crowded, so you'll have a little less complications getting a spot to park there. But what's really cool here is the beachcombing.
Now, while there's not the huge rock formations that El Matador offers, it does offer you a more peaceful beach-going experience. You can leisurely take a look at the rocks and watch the waves, and the views are, I think, really incredible.
And if you're lucky, you might find some sea life to take a look at.
Number 2 on our list is the San Luis Obispo area.
So San Luis Obispo County is absolutely amazing, and it was probably one of our absolute favorite stops along the entire PCH. And it's more than just one location because it encompasses Pismo Beach, San Luis Obispo, and Morro Bay. But we couldn't choose just one, so we're going to share them all.
So let's talk a little bit about the Pismo Beach area first. One of the things that we really enjoyed was our accommodations. We started off at Oceana Dunes, which is one of the few beaches that you can drive on in California, and you can spend the night. Coincidentally, it was probably the cheapest accommodations. At the time we stayed there, it was only $10 and we got some gorgeous, gorgeous views out of it. And it makes a perfect place to jump into Pismo Beach to explore. Now we are going to talk a little bit about Pismo Beach. I think the pier is a must-see. If you're into fishing, they have vintage Airstreams and trailers on the pier that sell food. If you're into surfing or want to learn how to surf, this, from what we heard from the locals, is one of the best spots to go. Now, if you're more like me and you're more interested in food than physical activity, Pismo Beach is really known for its clam chowder. Now, we ate at Splash, we really enjoyed it, and it was really, really delicious. But there are many other places that serve clam chowder, so if you're staying for a few days, then why not try them all? The one thing that we can absolutely agree on, though, were the cinnamon rolls. The cinnamon rolls were absolutely incredible, and after you stuff yourself with clam chowder, wait a little bit, and then grab you one of these big cinnamon rolls. You will not be disappointed.
So after you're done in Pismo Beach, next you're going to want to head into San Luis Obispo. The first stop we suggest here is the Madonna Inn. This place is really cool and quirky and kind of over the top and really, really pink. They have a restaurant here that is very ornate, and if it was a little later in the day, we would have really loved to have eaten here. You can also stop at their little bakery, have some coffee, and pick you up a delicious treat. The inn has over 100 rooms, and every single one is different and original. I think the next time we come through here, we're gonna have to stay. After you've had your coffee and treat, it's time to head to downtown San Luis Obispo. Here we made a stop at the famous Bubblegum Alley. Okay, it's kind of gross, but it's kind of cool at the same time. So this alley is totally covered in, you guessed it, bubblegum. When you actually walk into the alley, it smells a little minty and fruity. Just don't touch the walls.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about Morro Bay. It's a tiny little town with a ton to do and see. So first off, I would recommend walking along the waterfront. Bonus points if you can spot Security Cat. If you're looking to grab a bite to eat, and I definitely recommend that you do, we went to Tognazzini's dockside, but their clam chowder is amazing, but the must-have thing here is their oysters on a half shell. The fish and chips are also exceptional, some of the best that we had on the PCH. After having a little seafood feast, it's time for a feast of your eyes. Head on over to the Morro Rock Park. While we were there were tons of otters, and we could have spent hours just looking at them, and I actually think we did. And then you have the rock formation known as Morro Rock. It's actually a volcanic plug. Now, Morro Rock is one of several of these volcanic plugs in the area, and they're super dramatic and beautiful to look at. And if that's not enough, I highly recommend strolling down the beach. It's our favorite part in the area to take in the sunset. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Number 3 on our list is Cayucos, and more specifically, the Cayucos Shipwreck.
When you stop there, it is a little bit of a scramble to get down to the beach where you can really view the shipwreck, even though from higher up you can. But if you want to get closer, head down to the beach. No one really is 100% sure on why this ship ran aground. Some people say that the crew actually had a hard night of partying and they weren't paying attention, grounded the boat on the shore.
What we do know is it's absolutely beautiful, and it's a great place to take some photos, and it's just really cool to explore. We heard that when it's really low tide, you can actually get out to the ship and explore it a little bit more, but be very careful because it is falling apart.
As a bonus, you can see Morro Rock from the shipwreck. Number 4 on our list is the Big Sur Coast.
The Big Sur coastline runs 90 miles from San Simeon, California up to Carmel, California along the beautiful rugged coastline.
This portion of the Pacific Coast Highway has some of the most dramatic views on the entire trip. One of our first stops was at the Friends of the Elephant Seal Rookery. Say that 5 times fast. Here, there were a ton of elephant seals along the beach, and they even had volunteers that staffed the park, so if you wanted to ask any questions about the elephant seals, they're there to help. Now, the time that we went, there were a ton of females on the beach, and we didn't see any large males, but supposedly later on in the year, the males finally show up.
When you get to Julia Pfeiffer Burns State Park and see all the cars parked along the highway, go ahead and park your car too and get out and see the beautiful McWay Falls. McWay Falls is an 80-foot tall waterfall, also known as a tidal fall because it dumps directly into the ocean. The beautiful cove at the bottom of the falls is absolutely gorgeous. I just want to stick me a little hut down there and move right on in.
While in Big Sur, we stayed at the Pfeiffer Big Sur State Park. Now, we lucked out by getting a spot at the last minute at this campground. I do not recommend that at all. You want to make some reservations ahead of time, as this is one of the most popular campgrounds in the state park system in California. This state park offers a ton of hiking. While we were there, we decided to go and hike the namesake waterfall trail, the Pfeiffer Falls Trail. And it also contains some really impressive redwood trees. But there is a ton of hiking in this area. Do yourself a favor and do as many as you can. If there's one place on the PCH, I think if we could have stayed longer, this is that place.
On your way out of the Big Sur area, be sure to stop at Bixby Bridge. Bixby Bridge is absolutely beautiful and dramatic and sits right on the coast. It was built in 1932 and is a concrete arch span bridge and is the tallest, or one of the tallest in the world of its kind. Just don't get too close to the edge. It is a pretty big drop down. Number 5 on our list is Fort Bragg, California in Mendocino County.
Fort Bragg is almost the northern terminus of the PCH, and there is a ton of cool stuff to do here.
One of the first stops you're going to want to make in Fort Bragg is to head over to Noyo Headlands Park and visit Glass Beach. The beautiful glass stones and pebbles found on this beach are a result of the residents in the area dumping trash into the ocean for many, many years. This used to be a very common thing along the coast, and they stopped it many years ago, but the glass that was dumped out there was churned by the ocean and broken down and smoothed out, and now you have these beautiful glass pieces. After you're done searching for sea glass at the beach, be sure to head over to the Sea Glass Museum where you can learn about how the sea glass is made and what the different colors come from. There are even some pieces of glass that glow in the dark.
After hunting for sea glass, we were a bit hungry, so we were looking for something to eat. Now, we've had our fill of seafood on this trip. Granted, I could eat it every day, but there was a really highly rated restaurant in the area called Mayan Fusion. Now, this is a different take using some Mayan influence and Mexican cuisine, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. It was absolutely delicious. But of course, knowing us, we saved room for dessert. So we went on a search for something called mushroom ice cream, and it's exactly what it sounds like. At Cowlick's Creamery, they use these mushrooms to make ice cream. Now, it's kind of hard to explain what this ice cream tastes like, but I would liken it to maybe maple or butter pecan. And if you're not that adventurous, they have tons of other homemade ice cream options that are sure to satisfy any flavor.
Now that we've shared our 5 favorite must-stops along the PCH, it's time to share with you our bonus must-do side trip.
Just north of Santa Barbara, be sure to take the detour over to Solvang, a quaint little Danish town in California.
This little town makes us feel like we're stepping into Europe, and we absolutely love it.
We recommend taking the day to stroll around town, taking in the windmills and the architecture. And you know me, I'm going to mention food. So there are tons of bakeries around, so be sure to snag some pastries while you're there.
After you're done exploring the town, the next place you're going to want to stop by is Ostrich Land, USA. Ostrich Land, USA has a bunch of ostriches and emus that you can walk around and visit and feed. And in true Sandy fashion, this place is so much fun because we all know Sandy loves to feed animals. Although I was a little scared at times because these things are quite, I won't call it vicious, but quite aggressive about their eating.
Now the next stop we're going to talk about is La Purisima. It's one of the many old Spanish missions along the coast of California. This was kind of an accidental find, but this is one of the most beautiful missions that we went to on our road trip. It is a state park and they've done a beautiful job of renovating. They have a beautiful visitor center highlighting the history of the mission, the Spanish people, as well as the indigenous cultures that it affected. They have animals that the Spanish and indigenous people would have kept at the time, and there is a ton of hiking trails around this mission. So it's definitely worth spending a day. Well, there you have it. I hope you really enjoyed learning about our 5 must-stops and our bonus along the Pacific Coast Highway.
Without a doubt, we've probably missed your favorite stop along the PCH, so go ahead and drop it in the comments and tell us about it and share it with everyone else. Or if you're planning your own PCH, drop your questions below.
If you found this video informative or useful, or you found us even slightly attractive, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I mean, if you find us attractive, leave that in the comments below too.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, probably not.
Anyway, guys, we've enjoyed talking about our PCH journey with you. We hope you've enjoyed this video. And until the next video,
stay wonderful.
Call it a day.